Happy Wednesday. It is the 11th of May. Time is flying by so fast. I can't even believe it. I just want to give some. First, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co host, Chuck Richards. He is back. Welcome to have him back. We'll talk about more of that and how he's doing and stuff like that. Um, with that being said, of course, Real Talk is always sponsored by the Daily Arts magazine. They're having a seminar this Saturday. If you're not doing anything, you can come out and meet the creator of these magazines and see some martial arts demonstrations. I should be there. It's also sponsored by Reggie Wells Quality Speakers. Very nice speakers, I will admit. He sells them for $85. If you want them, mention me, Real Talk Chronicles, and you'll get them for $85. Soft Illusions Art Gallery. It's sponsored by Melba Wilson's Restaurant. Sponsored by Leon Ellis Chocolat Restaurant. We will be getting together. I'm going to set it up where we can have a Real Talk get together this summer. Hopefully, as long as I can get all the hosts there at one location, we'll do that. We'll definitely do that. With that being said, and it's also, like I said, Leon Ellis Chocolat and Harlem Underground. With that being said, and saying all that, if you're watching it from YouTube, subscribe to it. We had an excellent show yesterday. For those, we had Michael Lookup Sledge and Reggie Bullock on. And even though Michael Lookup Sledge is a legend in the martial arts, his story was more about perseverance over being bullied and becoming a world champion martial artist. So I implore all of you to please watch that, just to get some kind of what it's like to persevere from being bullied. And that's very important. With that being said and saying all that, let me bring in my co-host, Chuck Richards, and see how he's doing. What's up, Chuck? How you feeling, brother?
What's going on, brother? How are you, man? How's things?
Everything is good, man. Oh, I forgot to say this. Happy birthday to Allison Williams. Today is her birthday. We should be
Oh,
hanging out
happy
with her tomorrow.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Cool.
She shares a good day. Shout out to everybody who's having a birthday today. My man Carmine, my boy Ivan, and of course my mother's birthday. Happy heavenly birthday to my mother. And this is Real Talk was started for her, so I hope she's in heaven watching us and joining us. What's up, Ernie Simpson? What's up, brother? How you feeling, man? Pinky, how's it going? What are you talking about? We converted the post quick. So Chuck, some love. Facebook somebody's messing with me right now. So go ahead, Chuck. Give us some love. Tell people how you doing.
Like I said, man, the month of April was kind of rough, unfortunately, man. We had two to three unforeseen passings, within my life. My mother-in-law, and then one of my really close friends, and then another good friend of her mother. So April was kind of a rocky road, man, in terms of just emotional and spiritual. And then every now and then I needed a little hiatus to kind of get away and just kind of like reflect and kind of like decompress. But other than that, I mean, the thing I think is more of a blessing than anything else is that I'm here, I'm above ground in order to talk about it and to express and say emotionally what it did and how it affected me. So that in itself is a blessing. And now I'm currently in New Orleans, running around with some cats and some friends, and I get to run naked with the wolves when I'm out here. So it's been good. I
Absolutely.
was at Jazz Fest, so I was doing my thing. So it's good.
Good. I mean, like you said, dealing with a transition, I know that's definitely hard for anybody. And you had a birthday around the same time too, right? I think.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I mean that was a bittersweet because I'm sure it was your mother-in-law, but I'm sure you've been in her life and she's been in your life for how many years? Like over 20, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah. So
Close
condolences.
I would say almost 30. Yeah, I would say 30.
Yeah, 30 years. So it's glad to have you
Mhm.
back. Always condolences to Joe and wishing her well and with dealing with her transition. Teresa, what's going on? One day we got to get you on this show. I love your input. And of course, what's up, Stefania? Yeah, she said, Chuck, it's nice to see you. My condolences to you and your family. Absolutely. So
Oh,
everybody,
thank you so much.
you know, we're gonna go a strong hour tonight, everybody. So just there's so much going on outside of this, and Chuck is away, and I don't want to keep him, and I got some other stuff Malika and I have to do. So we're giving you a nice strong hour. Like I said, we appreciate all the love and support.
Oh, I'm sorry, but before you get started, can I tell you one thing? I had the opportunity to review that show, man, from last week, and I have to say, man, I mean, there's been a lot of shows that, collectively, like you've done and you've orchestrated and you've brought in guests. But I
Yeah,
think, man, last week's show, man, was so profound in so many ways. And, even though I rip into Kevin's ass every time I can get the opportunity,
yeah, because he needs it.
I was
Well,
like, yeah, every now and then you got to lay it into him, man. But I
yeah.
swear to God, man, last week I knew him as a person basically through you, but he really showed how much of a human being, man, he is,
Yes.
man, on so many levels. And not that I'm saying it's gonna stop me from ripping in his ass, but
No, because he has
it
that
gave
kind of
me a
ass that
different
needs to be ripped
perspective on
into.
that brother.
Yeah. He has that kind of ass that needs
You
to be
know,
ripped into a lot. And
you know
with
what I'm
that being
saying? So
said,
wow,
I
it
mean,
was
so
profound,
his
man. It was
transparency was phenomenal. What he said, and
yes, it was, man.
we had Mustafa on last week, and he is with us this week. Welcome in, Mustafa. What's going on,
Oh,
brother? How are
How are
you?
you? How you guys doing?
I'm good, man. What you up to, bro?
Nothing much. Nothing much. I
yeah.
just got back home.
Yeah, you looking nice and summery wherever you are. You know, yeah.
Ah,
Giving that perception. Giving that perception.
Yeah, that optical illusion. Absolutely. Mustafa,
man.
how are you doing today?
Good. 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 You know,
Good.
just trying to live a good retired life.
Absolutely. We're all retired, all retired MOS. Hey, Mustafa, I'm going to ask you a question. We see crime is still happening in the city and all over the world. We're going to go around. Like I said, we got a strong hour. So if you had a chance to speak to the mayor, what would be some of your things that you would ask him to do in regards to public safety?
All right. My based on my experience in law enforcement for 20 years, I came to the final conclusion that the police are never going to fix the problems in the community, whether it's violence or domestic violence or anything of that nature. I would tell the mayor to use his platform and his voice to reach out to the community and talk about family structure, family values as a long-term solution to this problem that continues to permeate through our communities. And also that's the only real way, the true way to address this problem is, if you have a strong family structure, it's not guaranteed, but it definitely is going to lower the chances of law enforcement and community interaction from a criminal justice perspective.
Okay. Chuck, your thoughts?
No, I mean, I value what Mustafa is saying. I know, as we all say, that it starts, character is built, right, instinctively, or it's supposed to be built directly from the home, right, from the environment that a child is brought up in. If a child is reared in such a way where, in fact, they're capable of understanding what value and what core values are and what type of behavior is acceptable and unacceptable. And I get that, but once again, I think there's an issue that even though we as parents or as a community, if we're able to pull and those resources or to give those gifts to our children, and it to be also done not only in terms of family values, but it also has to be something that has to be reinstated or also has to be regurgitated even on in terms of our religious leaders, right? So it would have to be someplace where it's heard more than one place, all right? So there are times I remember as a kid when I was growing up where I think we all do this. Like, like your father tells you something or your mother tells you something, right? And because of where we are hormonally, we go, yeah, you know what you're talking about, right? Because we're in a particular state where it's just being young men, we feel that we know everything. Where here it is, it's really the same environment, right? It's the same thing, just recycled with different clothing. It's different music. It's just a different fad, but it is really typically fundamentally the same exact structure. But then if your dad or your mom tells you something, and then all of a sudden you hear from a third party, let's say it's a minister of a church, or it's someone who's in charge of an after school program, and then it may not resonate coming from their parents. It's morally ingrained, but now they hear it as a from another voice, a third party who's not directly in their household, and sometimes that resonates with a child. But I do believe that holistically, it has to be a three-pronged approach. It has to be something that has to be engaged with, yes, the family structure. I also believe that our religious or civic leaders have to be involved, and then the police department. So I think it all has to be brought in together as one particular entity. I don't think there's a, a solution, it being just one-sided. I think all parties have to be involved, but it does, honestly, it does start first and foremost with trying to install those particular morals and virtues and those particular habits and behaviors to a child. But if you have a police department, like I know for a fact, I know we all have gone through it. I may be the best kid in the world. I may not be the type of kid that gets into trouble. But if I walk into the street and I have a police officer whose bias or prejudices are automatically against me because I'm black, it's not going to make a difference what my morals are. That officer has a certain perspective or a certain perception of who I am as a black man, and that in itself may instill fear in him, or he may feel he has the right to, be adversarial toward me because I'm black. So it has to be something in terms of all three entities, and it has to be a thing that we all come together as a village to educate all of our kids and educate everyone holistically so that it's well-rounded. Can't be. I don't think it's just one-sided.
I agree. I think we've said it time and time again because, like I said, we see crime still happening, and I'm a big advocate of a family structure first and following that aspect. Chuck, you weren't here last week, and I think you saw some of the show. What's your take on? We had Dr. Corder on, and she's definitely for Roe versus Wade. I mean, not for it. I mean, she's against it, like demolishing it. She wants it to still stay. What's your take on that?
I think, honestly speaking, and it's always worked out this way, right? Every time anything has been changed or there's been anything that's been upset or turned upside down, it's a bunch of crusty old freaking white men sitting in a goddamn room talking shit about what everybody else should do with their lives. All right?
Right.
That's bullshit. Enough is enough. Okay. I mean, a woman has the right to make a decision associated with what she wants to do with her body. I don't know what it's like to be a woman. I may have I can act, I may have certain actions or behaviors that people would dictate as feminine, certain types of actions or behavior, right? It means, all of us have both of us. We all have male and female in us, all right? Some of us capitalize and dominate one side than the other. I get that.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
I won't know what it's like to carry a human life inside of me. I won't know what it's like to carry a baby or to have a child or to have it for 9 months and just to give birth. Who am I to tell a woman what the hell to do with her body? I don't believe that is something that any man should have the right. If whatever a woman decides is what she wants to know, whether if it's based on some issues, some people have their own religious perspective on it. Some men, just because of them being egalitarian in the sense of the word, they want to be like a communistic country and say very clearly, no, I don't care, you're my woman, that's not what you're going to do. I get that. Right. And there's certain cultures and certain religions that say very clearly that that's a big no-no, and I get it.
Yeah.
But in terms of what I see, just on a basic level, I don't have a right to tell any woman what to do with her body because I don't know what it's like to carry or to give birth. I don't know. And who am I to tell a woman who or what not to do with her body? So
yeah. Mustafa, you were here last week when we discussed it, but Chuck wasn't, so I just wanted to get his take on
Yeah,
that.
of course.
I know you are a religious man of Muslim faith, and you stated your views on it. You can reiterate them again.
Of course.
I have one question to ask you before you state your views. Are your views that of mostly all Muslims, or do you think that was just your personal belief?
If you want to look at it from an individual perspective, as opposed to a religious perspective, what the Quran talks about, right? What Allah talked about, no Muslim, no matter what their perspective is, can change what the word in the book says.
Understood.
Individuals can have their individual perspective. I'll give you my example. In the past, I was very active in the community. I was involved in an organization called the New York Civic Participation Project, which is an offshoot to 32BJ, right? Which we did activism work, immigration work, get out to vote, and at that point in my life, I was pro-choice. You see, I was pro-choice. You know, over the years, I've evolved and I experienced certain things and seen certain things that has changed my perspective, right? Not just from the religious aspect, because I'm not this holy man, this perfect man, but it changed my perspective based on what I've experienced, having children, seeing the birth of a child, live birth of a child, seeing the birth in the stomach through a sonogram, and seeing the heartbeat, seeing the child in there alive and well and has feelings. All right. Also, and being part of the community, and seeing people and talking to people, and going to homicides, going to shootings, and seeing people killing each other. You know, all that combined, put that together, including getting more in touch with religion, with Islam, put me in this position that I am today.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. That my co-host Chuck Richards, and we got Mustafa with us again today. Thank you for coming on. You can elaborate more, Mustafa, if you want.
Sure, of course.
On why you feel the way you feel. I don't know. Like I said, Chuck might have saw some of it. He might have saw snippets. I know he caught a little bit of it, but I know. Go ahead. I'll let you talk a little bit before we move on.
Sure. Look, I believe in sustainability, right? I believe in a long-term community, and if we allow organizations like I forgot the name of the organization right now. They come together, they come to the community, and Planned Parenthood to come into the community and tell the community, hey, listen, we have these programs for you, right? And we have this for you, like women's health. Great, I support that. I support accessibility to women's health. Very important, especially in the poorer communities where they don't have access to medical care like in other communities. But I don't support an organization that was started by a woman, right? Who ultimately, you can look this up. Please don't believe anything I say. I need you to research it yourself, and the viewers to research it themselves. This woman was a staunch racist and hated Black people. And what her conclusion was let me figure out a way to make these people that I hate and I wish them death, right? How can I make them believe that I'm doing them a favor when they're doing me a favor by killing each other, right? And they came up with Planned Parenthood. And all these girls that go to these organizations and they give them the green light to go and abort their children is one less Black child out there that will be the potential the next generation. And the continuation of this process will ultimately one of three things that will ultimately exterminate the African American population as we know it today in the however long you want to do the mathematics.
Hold on for 1 second. Thank you, Stefania. Sure. She was talking about Margaret Sanger. That's the lady you're talking about.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question. And I just not disputing anything you said, but now I want to challenge what you just said in the point of exterminating the African American race. If the white society is in fear of not being the popular people anymore, the dominant race, then how does your theory make sense? Because the bottom line is, if we're more populated people of color, including yourself, how is that going? How does your theory make sense? Because the bottom line is, we right now are still we're about to be the dominant people of color, about to be the dominant race.
Okay, so look, let's look at the white or European communities, right, in the United States, right? Look at reproduction. They don't reproduce. They don't make children in the same rate as, let's say, the Arab community does, or other communities of color do, right? They prefer to have, and this is not an attack on them, they prefer to have one child and have a dog or have two dogs and go on vacation. You understand? Yeah. And that's no fault but their own. You understand? Not just in the United States, all across Europe this is happening. In France, in Britain, they have a lot of immigrants coming from Africa, right? Because of colonialism, as a result of colonialism and breaking down of governments. And now this influx of Africans are moving and moving to these countries. And guess what? They're having a lot of children. And they're going to surpass the Muslim community in these countries are going to surpass the population of the non-Muslims, particularly the British, for example. They're going to be more Muslims in Britain in about 50 years. In France, the same thing. Okay. So as far as here in the African American population, right here in America, I just can only speak for America right now, is that I don't see it as a theory as much as I see it as what I've experienced. Right?
When you talk about experience, right now we're dealing with facts, and I'll bring Chuck in on this. Right now, from other conscious minds, we feel, and I'll say me, that like Chuck said earlier, and I'm sure maybe we might be on the same thought process with it, and I'll let him answer and make his own statement. But we understand that most of these places that they're doing this are predominantly Republicans in white states that want to make sure that the white race becomes the dominant race again. With that being said, right now they've lost that edge. You know what I'm trying to say? Like if this is a race, they're losing it because there are more interracial relationships. There are more people of color. So that pure white Anglo-Saxon ideology is going away. If that's the case, then what everything you're saying doesn't make sense.
Where doesn't it make sense?
Because
where exactly doesn't it make sense?
Because you're saying that they're killing black children.
They are.
Who's killing them?
Through abortions, right? Young black children killing one another, right?
No, I understand that. I understand that, but we're talking about Roe versus Wade. Stay on Roe.
Okay. Oh, then they're killing. We just want to focus on abortions right now, correct?
Well, we can move on after that, but I just want to stay on the topic, and then we can go with it. So I'm talking about Roe versus Wade. That's all I'm talking about.
Okay. So one is abortion. Young black babies are being killed. Take apart what the whites forget. They're done as far as being the dominant race in America. In the near future, they're not going to be the majority. They're not. They already know. They can pass all the laws they want.
So stay with me right there. Isn't that the reason why they would want to change Roe versus Wade so they can be the dominant race again? Because the bottom line is abortion is not just a person of color situation. There might be more white people that had abortions than black people. We don't know. I don't have.
I saw some statistics in a .gov website. I forget I'll look for it and I'll send it to you. I forget the year. Recent statistics, and it showed that there were more black. There was about 20,000 abortions. This is the the reported abortions. Okay, not
Right.
these people, the organizations, they don't have to report, but these are the reported abortions. It was about 20,000 abortions, roughly between whites and blacks. And the vast majority of the largest proportion of these abortions are happening between the age of 25 and 30. I'm
Mhm.
gonna look this up and I'll send it to you, Bill.
Okay.
So
I think I do recall when I was listening to you guys last week. I actually did go online, and I think I was able to find some data that indicated that it was kind of outdated, but it was like recent. It was like 2019. That in
Yes.
terms of the year 2019, in terms of the abortion rate, it did indicate that there were more people of color who
Yes.
unfortunately did have abortions than was someone who was white. But to Bill's point, I'm looking at it also from the perspective that, let's say, if you get rid of Roe versus Wade, and we're already starting to populate, not even just populate, but we're crossing lines. Not even a white person now is purely white anymore, because they got some brother in them someplace. There's
of
somewhere
course.
across the line where, so you have cultures and you have different races that are crossing, and they're crossing with brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
Mhm.
even in the sense of what you think is white now is no longer white. So yes, they are definitely being ousted in terms of being the dominant race. But once again, yeah, to Bill's point, if they were to get rid of Roe versus Wade, then guess what? It's a fear free for all, right? At that particular point, there's no way for anyone to actually abort a child. And if people of color are having children, as they think they are, like we're just rabbits, and all we just do is just
Well,
hump on each other and just make babies, because this is the theology, right? That we're just freaking animals to some degree. We're
mhm.
beasts, and we don't know. We got these sexual drives and these urges, and we just can't help ourselves. So if that being said, and now you eliminate or reduce what can be done in terms of Roe versus Wade, then we will continue to populate even at greater numbers, and we will start to cross over even at far greater numbers. And it may not take 10 years before, excuse the expression, the white race is eradicated. That shit could be done in 5 years, for all we know. So I mean, it's two different sides of the coin, but I understand both points from where you guys are coming from. But I also do believe that some of those, like I just realized, and Mustafa made a good point. Those are the abortions that have been reported, right?
Yes.
We don't know in terms of on other levels if there are certain communities that don't report it. Who's to say that, for argument's sake, maybe the white population is having large and having more abortions than that of people of color. At one point, the media used to say very clearly that public assistance was predominantly being taken or being utilized by people of color, which was
And that's not
bullshit,
true.
right?
Yes.
Public
Absolutely.
Mhm.
public assistance was being more utilized by those people in those southern or eastern. It's by white folks. It wasn't by us. So who knows? A lot of things. And once again, we all have to do our own research, and we all have to sit down and not take everything as gospel. And we have to actually take it upon ourselves to actually, instead of listening to what the media says to us, we need to investigate it ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just read some comments. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Chuck. And of course, we got our special guest, Mustafa, in the building. And this is Real Talk. This is what we do. So let me just read some comments. Paula said, he's so accurate. That's why there's challenging and messing with Roe versus is law. Roe versus Wade law. So finally said, well, statistically speaking, Mustafa is right. The number of black babies being killed surpasses those of white. Absolutely. Colin said, white people will no longer be the dominant race when the whites and blacks get together and have babies. They're not having white babies. They are having black children. And that's where I think Chuck and I are coming from.
Yeah.
Stefania said, okay, Colin, that's true. Stefania also says abortion will never stop, just safe abortions, unfortunately. Jay Burnett, he said the trend is that there is browning happening in America. It's going the opposite way than what Mustafa is saying. By 2060, I believe this country will be multiracially, totally. But we are the poster child of abuse of services from this government. Yeah, and that is a strong point. Honestly, like I said, I'll say this. I'm just in a belief that, like I said, it's not my choice to tell a woman what to do with her body. I wouldn't want to do that. I don't know about anybody else's past and stuff like that, but I think people, if they have a child due to lust or any other passion, and it's a mistake because they didn't think properly, I think they have the option now. Let's not get carried away. I don't think a woman should be able to be going in and having 3 4 abortions because she likes to feel it, feel a flavor. Let's get carried away. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, we're talking about somebody young make a mistake, because the bottom line is, I'm sure there's just as many white people or Spanish people, black people. We've all been at that clinic together. You know what I'm saying? It's just the only thing is the clinic is in our community. So we'll go in and we'll see those people more than we go somewhere where it's predominantly white. And the bottom line is, first and foremost, and I'll let you close out, both of y'all close out on this topic and we'll move on. The bottom line is, if the money talks, the abortion's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? If the money talks, abortion's going to happen. They're going to say it's a tumor. They're going to say something's going to happen where they're going to get rid of that child. So, Mustafa, I'll let you close on your closing thoughts on that topic, and then Chuck, you can close on it, and then we can go on to something else. Go ahead.
Sure. At the end of the day, I understand. I see what people are saying is where women are gonna get the abortions, irregardless of whether it's illegal or not. If Roe versus Wade is overturned, this whole abortion thing gets kicked back to states. In New York State, for example, it's a pretty liberal state. Abortion is going to be legal. As a matter of fact, they actually voted today in the Senate to create a law, to push a law through on abortions, right? And guess what? It failed. It was 49 to 51, I believe.
Right.
I don't know the numbers, but at the end, laws can be passed. If people can advocate for these things, laws can be passed. But at the end, I believe in sustainability and a long-term strong community.
Yes. Thank you. Chuck?
No, I mean, like I said, I piggyback in terms of what Mustafa said in terms of sustainability and community, but I also believe, like I said before, I don't know what it's like to carry a child. I wouldn't know. I mean, they actually had something on television where they simulated what it's like for a woman, the pain that she actually goes through when she's giving birth to a child. And they set up these particular probes to men because, men sometimes we undervalue exactly what a woman goes through physically when they're carrying a baby, or when they're having their period, or when they're giving birth to a child. And they simulated that pain by putting electrodes on a couple of men. It's okay, I'm going to show you the intensity of what it's like.
I think Chuck froze. We'll get him back in a second. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Chuck Richards. And he's on assignment, having fun on vacation in New Orleans. And we have Mustafa. How do you pronounce your first name first?
Baher. The right way is Baher.
Baher?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
I just want.
I'm
always going to call you Mustafa anyway, but the bottom.
That's okay, brother.
No, I know that because you've been Mustafa to me ever since I met you. So it's just it's a blessing and stuff. Now the one thing is we got to get Chuck back. Let me see if I remove him and then to see if he comes back and add him back. See what happens.
Here comes.
Chuck, are you there? Let's see. He's still frozen. So
Seal.
Yeah. So you mentioned something. We both were discussing something about, for those that don't know, the first female. Got you, Chuck. Yeah, the first female.
I got that. I got 3G in here, man.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly. We told them you were on special assignment.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. Enjoy that too. So we were saying how right now we have the first female press speaker of the House, correct? Black female. And Mustafa, you were telling me you felt that they were trying to jam down the LGBT kind of aura down the African American. Explain what you meant because of that. For those that don't know, because to me, I'm applauding that we have a black speaker. You know what I'm saying? Because people of color, we so happy to get anything. We you know, we're going to accept it. But Mustafa went from another perspective. He felt that they were just trying to push, because the lady is gay. He felt that they were trying to push the LGBTQ community's ideologies down our throat. I'll let you comment, Mustafa. Then Chuck, you can come in on that.
Sure. Anything that we do in life, anything that we see on television, anything that's happening in this society has a level of marketing, right? And a level and the messaging, right? It's all perception, right? So when we saw for many years, we never had a black president, right? Never. One day, Barack Obama is elected. A black man is elected president, right? And now we have a perception for the young black children. Look, I could get there. I can be that person. I can be that person irregardless of my conditions. So Barack Obama, whether you liked him or did not like him, was just by turning on your television, you had a president of the United States that was a black man. And I don't care if you liked him, I don't care if you hated him, but you know what? You heard him. And for young people that didn't have hope, that gave them hope. Now, when you introduce a black woman and you say this is a historical event, yes, it is. It's a black woman, and now you're saying also she's a black woman, but she's also part of she's also part of the LGBTQ movement. She's gay. She's a lesbian. No problem. I don't care if you're a lesbian or not. But why do you have to make the first lesbian a black woman? Why can't you have it a white woman? Why does it have to be black? You understand? Why does it have to be black? Because you may not agree, but because this white supremacy, the underlying white supremacy agenda, right, that right now the Democratic Party has control of in the White House, is still in effect in one way, shape, or form. And this is one of the ways. You're familiar with the Indian schools back in the days where they would kidnap Native American children and put them in schools and to indoctrinate them into the white society, cut their hair, let them speak a certain way, right? The first group of kids, they resisted. Why? Because there was nobody there. Once they broke their back and made them conform, guess what? Guess who were their teachers after that? Their teachers weren't the teachers. Their teachers were the students. The first generation of students that were kidnapped. Now they became students and they taught the next generation. Hey, don't fight it, man. You're good. This is good for us.
So let me just interject, because you have a talent of talking about one thing and then veering all the way to another topic. So what I want to say, I know, I understand, but so basically what you're trying to say is that the person who made the decision said, yo, let's put a black woman that's gay in this position, so we want the black community to be gay?
No, what I'm saying is it doesn't have to necessarily come from, let's say, the woman before her hugged her, say, this is a good friend of mine. She's great, right? She's great. Right. She's a great friend of mine, right? But who makes the ultimate decision? You think she made that decision? No. You think you think that the president made that decision? There's a higher power. There are higher operations. You can call it a theory. You can call it a conspiracy theory. Who's running this country is not the president. There are higher powers that dictate what goes on around here.
But so you honestly telling me you don't think he chose who he wants to be the Speaker of the House?
No.
Okay.
He barely knows how to get out of a stage.
Okay. Let me bring Chuck in. And Chuck, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, you know what? I'm going to look at it from a different perspective. The overall issue associated with democracy with this country is hypocrisy. All right? I'm just going to go right from there. Because if, in fact, for argument's sake, this country was truly built on the overall morals of every man being created equal, right? If it was really created on the issue that this was the land of equal opportunity for everyone, regardless of their race, regardless of their creed, regardless of their color. And the overall issue and the institution and foundation of this country, as it's always portraying itself to be, was truly at the level that it states it is, then guess what? It wouldn't make a goddamn difference if the person that was put into a seat was either black, white, Hispanic, or any culture or any religion. Because instead of the announcement would have been X, Y, Z is now Speaker of the House. Now, if we're all on the same playing field, if this is true democracy, a true country as it presented itself, there wouldn't be any reason to say the first black this, the first black that, the first Hispanic this, the first Latino that. It wouldn't be any reason for that if the America was truly America as it says, and it always tries to swing a flag that it is. Because when someone who's the president or someone who's a CFO gets elected or they get into a particular position, they say his name is Tom, Dick, or Harry. You know he's white because they don't say he's the first white man, the male white. They don't make those announcements. The white female, they don't make those announcements. But for some odd reason, whenever we step into a particular place, whether, especially even if we're qualified, overqualified, whatever the case may be, it always comes to something that needs to be memorialized, that this was the first black person or the first black Latino or whatever. So I'm not knocking anything that in terms of conspiracy theories, I'm not knocking anything associated with the pure fact that there are other components and there are other people behind closed doors that are making these decisions. I'm not knocking that because we all know that even the president himself, he may be the president, there are other people that are behind closed doors that are wheeling and dealing and making things happen. Those are probably the most powerful people, and those are the scary people because you don't know who they are. But I'm just looking at it from in terms of democracy. If in fact she's qualified and she's the first Speaker of the House, it really wouldn't make a difference whether she's a woman or whether she was gay or not. She's just the mere fact that she's a woman who's going to be the Speaker of the House should be one of the most important things. But because this country hasn't put us in a position of equality, it's always important to put those particular nomenclatures out there so that, yes, it gives children or someone else to say, oh, I can be that. I can do that. You know what? Not for nothing. We should have been able to freaking do that a long goddamn time ago. It shouldn't be something, you know what I mean? I think we've all, in some way or another, we've all paid our dues. Every race has paid their dues with blood and tears based on this goddamn country. So when I hear things like that, believe me, I am very, as you said earlier, Bill, like we as black people, when we get something, we're just so happy, and you're right, we are. But it bothers the shit out of me because it's almost like that slave mentality that, oh, well, I'm a field Negro, and just because the massa gave me fucking neck bones instead of giving me fucking beans, I'm fucking happy. You see what I'm saying? Like, that rubs me the wrong way. But that's just
I feel you. I feel you. No, and I get it. And thank you, Darren, for correcting me, press secretary. You're right. I apologize. But the thing is, and Masato, I'm gonna let you finish on that. But I agree. Let me just piggyback on what Chuck was saying. If it was fair in the beginning, we wouldn't have to say who we were. I mean, think about it. Well, how many times of us, and we've all been on this job, and we've gone for interviews and trying to get in another unit. Damn near we had to use a hook for somebody. You know what I'm saying? Credentials. Look, I was one of the best ghosts in the Bronx.
Hello.
But I got hurt. I didn't get grade. I left before I got grade, but there were a lot of people behind me that got grade.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Of course.
As soon as I got hurt, the bottom line, but anything I had to do, it was my niche that kept me at a certain place. You know what I'm saying? Like easy. Like I didn't have to do points and stuff like that because I was so good at what I did out there. I was grabbing and watching undercovers and all that. But the thing is, like what Chuck is saying, I totally get it. We have to sell ourselves so hard. So we got it's like we got to be like happy for, she's black and she's gay. Yeah, like that's a double-edged sword. Like we winning. You know what I'm trying to say? But instead of just saying, yo, we got a woman in as a press secretary, because the bottom line is nobody knows if that lady that she's replacing is gay. Nobody cares, right?
Nobody asked.
Nobody asked. But the bottom line is maybe she was saying, yo, like, okay, like this is a liberal democratic ideology. What we're doing, we're putting people in color, and we're supporting the LGBT community too. Personally, I don't have a fucking problem with that. Listen,
no, I don't either.
No, because the bottom line is, and it ain't shoving shit down my throat, because the bottom line is I ain't got a nickel in her dime. You know what I'm trying to say, Mustafa and Chuck? Like, I ain't got a nickel. Listen, if you, it's
I said that's you as an individual.
Okay, so I'll let you go ahead. I'll let you say your.
I'll let you finish. I'm sorry, but I'll cut you off.
No, it's all good. But the bottom line is, people are going to be who they want to be. People are not going to be who they want to be. I know you said last week that you feel they're trying to shove it down our throats. Listen, anything could be overkill. They shoved Trump down our throats. Trump shoved a lot of shit down our throats, right? This country hasn't seen so much racism since he's been in office, right? And he's pacified the shit so much. Before it was kind of covered up, and it was quiet. Then when he got in office, motherfuckers was coming out the woodwork saying all kind of crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? And it separated people. I've stopped speaking from people that we've worked with, Mustafa, because of a man's ideology, and then they agreed with it, right? And it was almost like it was demonic at one point to me. Chuck and I both have friends. Chuck, you will see Chuck if you're Chuck's friend on Facebook. His circle is like Benetton, like mine. It used to be. You know what I'm saying? So it puts a little damper on our friendships with other nationalities and cultures when we have to start feeling like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to be with like-minded people, and all we want to be judged by the blood in our skin, in our veins. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead, Mustafa. I'll let you say what you feel.
Okay, like I said, marketing is the key, is the very big thing. Like you said, we don't know who the last what her preference was, the last secretary of press secretary, but because this is a black woman, right? We have to make sure that, because the LGBTQ community, they're very powerful. Okay, they're in every aspect of society. All right, they have pull, they have power. Right? You don't think that their organization or their community are saying, "Hey, put this girl in for us. Put this girl. She's good. She could do it, and she's part of the LGBTQ, and she's black." Well, so you're hitting you're killing two stones, whatever. You're getting two for one here. You don't have to worry about in the future getting a black woman or a gay woman. You have two here, right? So why? I'm gonna go back to what you said. Why do they have to announce that she's gay? We already know she's black by looking at her, right?
But let me just say this, and I'll let you finish. Do you think they asked her? Do you mind if we say it?
I think that she wanted to be. She wanted that to be said. So, that's her. This is her persona. This is who she is.
So in essence, let's say she didn't want to hide that shit. You know what I'm saying? See, we're not talking about the days where men and women had to hide who they were,
right?
In fear of being scrutinized and judged by their peers. Like,
right?
There's a country western guy that just came out. A country western singer just came out not too long ago and said he was gay, but everybody loves his song. So now it's like it's cool. And country western was not supporting the gay community for a long time.
No, very conservative.
Right? Very conservative, right? Now people want to feel free and shed their skin. You know what I'm trying to say? You got actresses, people that are coming out like Jennifer Grey. I think they played a baby in Dirty Dancing. Her father, Gene Grey, I think that was his name, or whoever, was gay for so many years. He came out at 80 years old, not too long before he passed away. And she was like, yo, they asked her, how did you feel? She said, damn, I wish my father wouldn't have had to suffer so many years and live a facade. Thank you for being my father. She said, I'd have loved him anyway. So what I'm trying to say is that people have lived in closets for so long. And, you know, shout out to our old co-worker, Michael Dye, right?
Michael Dye, yeah.
Michael Dye, right? Listen,
I knew Michael.
I respected and loved him so much because Michael let you know from the gate he was gay. Straight from the gate. And dared you to say something about it. Am I wrong, fellas?
Right?
Right?
You're not wrong. I've had conversation with. I had many conversations with him about it.
And I tell you what. Let me tell you something. Nobody dared cross that line, right?
Right.
Nobody dared cross that line because why? Right. You was in fear of maybe if he would retaliate from all different perspectives. He might punch you in your mouth. You don't know. He's a man, right? Or he might take it to another level and destroy your career, right? Let me tell you something. You go by Mike's desk and he had calendars of men. Am I lying? But
no, you're right.
The first day I broke the ice with Mike, right? We was going out doing B&B, and you know I used to get all the new ones that undercovers, and so here I am being a smart ass, but I'm going to break this ice because he's a brother too, right? Because everybody's intense because you know guys want to look at the girls, hey, yelling out the window, so everybody's on fucking pins and needles because Mike is in the car. So now I said to Mike, I said, yo, listen, you know I'm ghosting you. What's your distress signal? I said, are you going to be like, oh, he's all on top of me? And he's going to say, no. I'm going to say, oh, I want to keep him on top of me. And we broke the ice and in the car, it was an icebreaker and we laughed and joked out. Because at first when I said it, people was like, yo, Bill, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, yo, this is a man, right? It's like a man talking about somebody going bald, somebody fat, whatever. I just talked about the sexual aspect of his preference. After that, let me tell you something. I worked with him. He'll tell you I was one of the best ghosts that he ever had. I saved his life several times when it got really hairy. But the thing is, I hung out with Mike. He came down to one of my brunch parties when he was sick with cancer. And he just came out because he wanted to have a good time. This was right before the pandemic hit. And he came out to one of the brunch parties. I introduced him to some other guys that were there that I knew that were gay. And I told him, I said, yo, look out for him. Embrace my friend. You know what I'm saying? And they was like, yo, we got him, B, we got him. I say all that to say that, listen, Mike had no problem saying what he was. Did it make him a good officer or a bad officer? His sexual preference didn't have a damn thing to do. I'm sure because if you was me, it was getting my ass kicked. Listen, there was a guy I worked with in the 2-8, Kevin Mellick. I don't know. He might have passed away. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, he passed away, yes.
Yeah, Kevin was gay. My man Hawkins will tell you the story. Hawkins was fighting one day on the Lenox Avenue, and Mellick came by and Mellick came and kicked the shit out that dude's ass that was on Kevin. He didn't give a damn if he was gay or not. Listen, you do your job. If you can do your job, I don't care what's your sexual preference. Because when you go home, it has nothing to do with me. You understand what I'm trying to say? So, but what you're trying to say is that they're shoving it down our throat. I mean, are we talking about who, you know, our black leaders? Like, I mean, is somebody, a black leader coming out saying, I don't know, you help me out. You help me figure this out because I'm
right. We talk about white supremacy, right? We're talking about Black Lives Matter, white supremacy, black police brutality, right? But we're not talking about the bigger picture here. Yeah, you think the KKK is our arch nemesis? No, but who like Chuck said, there is a bigger power here that we never see, and you understand, Bill, that those are the most dangerous ones. Those are the ones that are moving this country in different directions, in the directions that they wanted to go, right? And it's not the president, it's not the press secretary, and it's not even the members of Congress, because they have masters to answers too.
All right, I'm gonna let you finish. I want to finish you, so I just want to get the idea and make sure I have this right. You're saying all this is a conspiracy theory.
I won't call it a conspiracy theory because it's being enacted right now.
Okay. All right, go ahead. You can continue, and I'll let Chuck chime in whenever you're ready.
Sure. Okay. Because you look, at the end of the day, we want to look. Remember Black Wall Street? We all know about Black Wall Street, right? This is a community of African Americans who were thriving. They were marrying. Black men were marrying their sisters, black sisters, and they were producing children, and they were productive. They were lawyers. They were doctors. Right? And what happened? The government itself facilitated and terminated that movement, a clean, healthy movement that we don't know what would have happened in 2022 if this thing would allow to expand.
Wait a
So
minute.
now,
Black Wall Street is totally different than.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you the difference.
Help me out.
Same. Yeah, it's the same thing in a different perspective, from a different angle, right? Because they can't go now to a community, right, and do what they did on Black Wall Street. They can't do that. No, how are they going to do it? They can't do it. So how are they going to do it? They're gonna institute policies and introduce ideology that will allow you to terminate yourselves, right, and kill yourself off without having them do it for you. If you take a look at the history of the Indian schools, that's what they did, right? And this is what they're doing to the African American population. And it's not to judge, but this is what's happening. People have to wake up and get off their Cardi B latest Cardi B song and Lil Wayne and Puff Daddy, because they don't care about black people, right? They don't, because they're producing this same garbage that allows people to stay ignorant. And
Chuck,
that's what I'm against.
Chuck, your thoughts?
I mean, there is some truth to what Mustafa's point is that as everything and anything, when there's a movement, especially when it's progressive in the sense that it's going to benefit a larger group and it's not going to address or help, let's say, the top 10% of this country, right? There's a top 10% of this country that are probably the most wealthiest, and probably because of their wealthy, they're the ones that are capable of getting their filibusters and getting things put on the table, whatever the case may be. And they're able to navigate or get other politicians to kind of coincide with their theory, knowing that maybe under the table there's something they can get in return, right? Because one hand washes the other. And like I was saying before, it's those individuals, it's those people that are behind closed doors. Those are the people that I'm afraid of. The same way when I said very clearly, when the past election, right, when Biden was running against that knucklehead, and there was at least over 750,000 people that, regardless of what this man did, as egregious as he was as a president, as disrespectful as he was as a president, he was not what you would say is what we found as being a Democratic president at all. All right. And there was over 750,000 people that still voted for him despite everything that he did. See, those are the people I'm afraid of. Those 750,000 people that are still sitting in the cut, that's sitting in the back, that voted for him, and they're all spread out. Those are the people that I'm afraid of, because despite what he did to this country, despite how blatant, it wasn't as if he hid anything, and even to the point of not ensuring the well-being of this country when a pandemic was hitting, he understood and knew that this shit was going to freaking spread, and he started saying all these countermeasures and all these other obstacles and issues to keep us from getting vaccinated, to at least save off the millions of people that died subsequent to this. That being said alone, I do honestly understand what Mustafa's coming from. There is an underground or a back door of people who do engineer these particular decisions, and they're able to pull strings.
Chuck, I totally agree with that. I'm never going to say that I would never say be that naive, as they say, to think that there are not people orchestrating things, because it's like chess and checkers. Right. But the one thing I'm going to say is that, and I know, like what Mustafa is saying, he feels that they're trying to get rid of the black community by making everybody gay, so there won't be reproduction. Is that kind of similar to what you're trying to say, Mustafa? A little bit.
That's one way. That's one aspect of it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, but the thing is too, like if we're going to start talking about certain things, I got a problem with a lot of men right now wearing kilts. You know what I'm saying? Every time you turn around, like at the,
you're talking about the Irish or the.
Like you have men now, fashion. They're wearing.
Oh, you have basketball players, yeah. Basketball players.
Yeah. Like, come on, like, listen. Let's just be men and wear pants and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to wear skirts and kilts and and other shit like that. Let's just stay in our lane, right? I mean, like
Yeah, but Bill,
But who are these
when
people that
you
are
look,
wearing
but
this?
Bill, when you look at it from historically, in terms of Egyptians, African tribes,
we wore
they
that.
wore
We wore that.
skirts. They
We
wear
wore that.
skirts. Yeah.
Yes,
Do-
absolutely.
I mean,
I totally agree. Go ahead,
Well,
I mean,
Mustafa.
I don't know if it was called a
those
skirt. I'm
people
not
are
saying it
not
was called
wearing.
a
Those
skirt,
people
but
are not going back into history and say, I want to replicate what the Egyptians
no,
did.
I'm not knocking that. But what I'm saying is, I know we were saying as men, a skirt, as far as I'm concerned, from where I'm sitting, based on his history, a skirt wasn't something at that particular point in time was gender specific, right? Because it
Right,
was
right,
something that even a man wore. Over a
right.
period of time, based on evolution, and I'm gonna say very clearly, yeah, white men decided no, women should wear skirts and men should wear pants. And
Yeah,
of course we
absolutely.
evolve, right? And it is what it is. And I get that. And I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying that when you think about from historical perspective in terms of tribes and Egyptians and African tribes and these they had their own systems. They had their own way of life. They were dominant in their culture. We as men, they didn't wear pants. They had on skirts. I mean,
And Chuck, I totally agree because back then I don't think they knew anything about no damn pants. So you
right?
were
They
just
probably
happy to
didn't.
cover up your private parts.
Right.
And bottom line is,
Right. You had
you get
air
to
running
show up.
up in there. Your balls wasn't sweaty. Come on, you know what I'm saying? I'm just
Yeah,
being
but
honest, right?
you know,
You know what I'm saying? Come
you
on, man.
can't compare what because they didn't know.
Yeah, but wait a
You know what I'm
minute.
saying?
But that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I'm funny
Back
guy.
then, as they say, you do what the Romans. When you're in Rome, you do what the Romans do. Because listen,
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I mean,
you out here swashbuckling. You don't know what.
you know what I mean?
I mean, think about it. When they looked up the history of the mighty 300, right? What did they say? They
Right.
said back in a lot of times, they said, yo, there was a lot of interracial, I mean, not interracial, like homosexual stuff
Yeah.
going on. You out there in
Exactly.
the woods all the
Never
time.
denied it.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It was a
Curtis,
norm.
come over here and get this. You know what I'm saying?
Look at Mustafa. It's almost like, oh,
You gotta add some light to this.
The
Like,
word,
oh my God.
the word sodomy. Where's the word sodomy come from?
the white man.
No.
Where?
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Gomorrah. Yeah.
Yeah, Sodom and
That was
Gomorrah.
that was long before
Yeah.
the Greeks and the
Yeah.
300s, whatever.
Yeah,
That was
I know.
long before then,
Sodom and
right?
Gomorrah.
Sodom and Gomorrah, right? So if you believe in your book that you read, right, you got to understand if you believe in God, right? I'm not saying to believe in God. I'm just saying if you believe in any form of God, right, you understand that God created this earth. I'm not preaching. I'm just telling you what created this earth for us to procreate. And let me just tell you, let me just give you, hold on. Can you see this? This and this don't procreate.
Absolutely.
It never will. But it never will. It's impossible.
Absolutely.
Right? It's impossible because God didn't create us this way. Now they want us to believe, they want to push this agenda, right? And that men in the 2022 can get pregnant, right? And women can do anything that and women can do anything that a man can do. But that's not true.
Well,
that's not true. And women cannot do anything that men can do, and men cannot do everything that women can do.
Absolutely.
True.
I mean, anybody that believes that, they're fucking delusional. I mean,
then right now you're being homophobic, Bill. I don't appreciate that. According to the LGBTQ community, you're being homophobic right now, brother. Because you know what? That's not right what you just said right there, brother. Because I agree with you, but the LGBTQ community are going to come at you, right? They're going to be protesting in front of your house saying, yes, all women's lives matter.
Listen. You trying to start something else? They don't want that. Listen.
No, it's true though. It's true. It's true, Bill. That's what they're doing. That's their message, brother.
Wait a minute. How do you just said a man can't do what women can do, and a woman can't do what a man can do? Of course, Now listen,
You're right. I agree with you, but I agree with you.
But wait a minute. But you started talking about the LGBTQ. Listen, Facebook and all kind of shit already trying to stop me for shit. So don't throw that shit out there at me.
You see what happened? You see what happened right there, man? You see the problem right now, man? The problem is we're afraid to say the truth of what we're really. No. Because we're going to be censored. No, but we're going to be censored. If you say certain things, right, that doesn't go against, that goes against what the mainstream is talking about, then something's wrong with you. You know what? Let's censor this person, block him on Facebook if somebody got offended and somebody has their feelings hurt. I don't believe in censorship.
But hold on. The thing is, when we talk about certain things, let's talk facts. We're not talking about what a man can do and a woman can't do. A man can't have a baby.
Thank you. I agree with you.
So I'm talking that. I'm not talking about moving furniture or painting a fucking building or a wall. I don't give a fuck. No, listen, my wife paint better than me. You think I'm gonna sit here and tell you go ahead, paint your little heart out? You know what I'm saying?
Huh?
That's not my forte. So I'm not sitting here telling her a woman can't do that or a man can't do that, right? But right now, women are not stronger than men. Is that a fact? Or that's a fact. So if you're saying, if I said that and the LGBT community got upset, then I tell them prove it. Have a woman arm wrestle, find me the strongest woman and arm wrestle the strongest man and tell me who wins. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at with it. But I'm not sitting here saying a woman can't think. You know, I would never say things like a woman couldn't be the first.
That's not what we're saying.
No, but I'm just saying, but because the bottom line is, listen, I have gay people in my family and I support what they do. I got white people in my family. I got Asian people in my family. I'm talking about first cousins. I got my aunt in here now, Caucasian woman. So it is what it is. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, sure.
No, but I say all that to say that I think right now, when people start nitpicking, they do it because they want to punish you. It's like you come to work, everybody comes to work late, but all of a sudden Mustafa start coming to work late, but the boss don't like you. Now all of a sudden, now here come memorandums and now he's at the desk waiting for you to sign in. You know what I'm saying? What happened to the little 5-minute grace period? But like, big brother is the chip. You come to work now, you got to swipe in and swipe out. Oh my God. Listen. So there's no, there's no chain sheet. I mean, what is it now? The tour is what your tour is when you come in that door, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Big brother all over. But I get the thought process on this. The moral of my story is we understand that there's powers of be. But like I said, as long as people come together and have the same mindset, when we start still dividing the country, we're still dividing the country over race. So people, it's like everybody wants to represent who they are. You understand what I'm trying to say? People always like people have to be just as proud to say I'm a white person as I'm a person proud to say I'm a black person, as I'm proud to say I'm a Muslim, I'm proud to say I'm a Hispanic. Whatever it is, you just got to be proud to be that person. But the bottom line is that if you, like Chuck's, and I'll go back to what Chuck said, if you looked at each other with democracy and fairness, you know what I'm saying, that everything would be fine from the gate. We wouldn't have to say who I am because you would respect me and see me for who I am. Go ahead.
Right.
Anybody? Yeah. So yeah,
Chuck, I spoke a little. If you would like to speak, Chuck, I'll say something, but
no, brother, go in, brother. It's all good, man. I'm listening. Yeah. This is great.
5 more minutes, exactly. Go ahead. So yeah, go ahead.
Bill, what you're saying and what Chuck is saying, as far as like, well, we shouldn't have to say this because if society was good, then great. But you know what? We live in reality, right? We live in reality.
No, I get it.
We live in a very tribal society, right? Look at just as cops, right? When I was working in the 2-8, for example, right? Where 100 blacks in law enforcement were kicked off, right? I walked in as a rookie in 2002, March of 2002, and I immediately picked up on the vibe over there. You go in front of the desk, a crowd full of cops. You see the white officers on that side. You see the black officers on that side. You see the Hispanics on this side, and you see me sitting here like I'm not by myself because I interact with everybody. You know?
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute, am I black today? Am I white? Who am I? Can I be Hispanic? I was born in Brazil. Can I habla español? You know what I mean? But what I mean is, what happens in the police department is a small sample of what goes on in society. Because we
Yeah.
look Chinatown, for example, right? What? Oh, all the Chinese move to Chinatown, right? The Italians go to Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, right? Over there in Brooklyn, Bay Ridge, all the Arabs over there. Little Yemen in the Bronx, Morris Park, Little Yemen. All
But
we're
let me
very
just say
tribal people.
yeah, we yes, that too. But then even when we try to migrate with each other, there's some resistance. You
Of course there
understand
is.
what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there are some people that are so ancestored in from the ideologies of being separated that they can't even change. Let me tell you something. You know this, Chuck knows this. We have certain police groups. The shit they say is barbaric to me.
Oh yeah.
You did a job to protect and serve, and you feel that way. So there's no way in hell you can tell me you honestly did your job properly when you feel that way, because you're already stemming so much bigotry and racist shit. You understand what I'm trying to say? So the bottom line, that's a whole nother topic in why people feel the way they feel and who they are. You know what I'm saying? And listen, the one slogan that will never change, and that they will say, racism is taught. You understand what I'm saying? No. Why do people always show two babies of different ethnicities playing together? Because babies are pure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yes. I mean, that's, yeah. So go ahead, Chuck. Any comments?
No. I mean, like I said, it's been educational, man. Sitting here, and especially listening to Mustafa. It's a different spin on stuff, man, and it's good to listen to what he says. But the one thing that I will say, one thing I will say,
that's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. The one thing I will say is that, yeah, we do understand that we do live in a real world, and I get that. And I wasn't just agreeing. I was just trying to put things in perspective that if, in fact, for argument's sake, this country was what it truly says it's been, it's what it's always waved its flag on, and what it said historically, and how we're the best at everything. We love everyone. We take your rich and your weak and your poor. That's bullshit. All right. And for the mere fact that we're still at a particular point, that yes, we still have to memorialize when someone of color, or someone who's Latino, or someone who's Asian gets a position or gets some type of title someplace in an administration that we know is predominantly white male driven. And yes, it is a celebration in itself, but it's just, at what point does that stop? At what point is the field ever going to be level? And then, when in fact, like you were saying, there are certain communities that are tribal. But guess what? When they want to integrate that area, what do? They use gentrification.
Yeah.
Right? That's the word we use. So if they want to break up a community, they want to stop this bullshit. Y'all all congregating, having your little fun, having your own little pocket. We're going to break this shit up. We're going to call it gentrification. We're going to move a couple of lines to the left, move a couple of lines to the right. We're all going to vote on it. And now we're going to start putting different buildings and restaurants. And now it gets flooded with different people. And guess what? Now we break it up, So there's still ways systematically, even though we may try to stay communal in some way, still in all, the larger picture is going to benefit the larger masses, which unfortunately, there's those people behind closed doors that we don't know who they are. They will find a way of ensuring that they will break it up.
And with that being said, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I haven't spent, Mustafa, you're gonna have to come back another day, and I'm gonna ask you this question: what would you do if you was running this country?
First of all, let me just tell you, I'm not gonna go into a speech right now.
Listen, Mustafa, we always end with positive affirmation. We're gonna get out of here because I did run over the time I wanted to go, and I appreciate Chuck logging on. And Mustafa, I'm glad you come on, because like Chuck said, you do give a different perspective, and it's important, because the one thing about Real Talk Chronicles, we sit here and we share. We communicate, whether we agree or disagree. It is what it is. The bottom line, everybody has an opinion, and everybody has a thought process in how they came to that opinion. So like you said, like Chuck said, doesn't mean you're wrong. Doesn't mean you're right. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. Doesn't mean I'm right. Vice versa with Chuck. But the bottom line is, we all agree that there is some conspiracy going on in this world, and how we get there, and why we get there. Because the bottom line is, we still at the bottom of the totem pole, people of color. You know what I'm trying to say? And we have to find a way to do better, just for ourselves. And this country just has to do better. You know what I'm saying? I hear certain people sometimes say, "Oh, if you're not happy, go back to Africa." Motherfucker, go back to where the fuck you from. You know what I'm saying? First, you don't need to go back to fucking Africa. You don't want me to get this Shaka Zulu off in your ass. You know what I'm saying? So that was my little 2-second rant. Yo, Mustafa, before we leave, we always give some positive affirmation. Give us some positive affirmation, what you would like, and then Chuck, give us some positive affirmation, and we're gonna close out. Go ahead.
All right. First of all, Bill, thank you, and Malika, thank you for allowing you some time away from her, so you can have a platform to engage the community. And I have no idea why Real Talk, your podcast hasn't gone to live stream yet, and CNN hasn't picked it up yet. I don't know why, but they should, and Fox News and MSNBC and BBC too, but Al Jazeera too, by the way. Now I like to. My goal in life is to see that people are conscious, and they focus strictly on what's best for society as a whole, and building families. I'm going to always continue to drive that down. And if you drive that down people's throat, like they drive garbage down people's throat, and you have people walking around here dizzy, right, thinking that they're conscious, but they're sleeping, right, and they think they're free, but they're really slaves in the 21st century, right? We could do the same thing to counteract what the mainstream power structure is doing to our mindset. Again, thank you, Bill. Chuck, it was nice being here with you.
Did you meet Chuck? Have you met Chuck before?
No, it's my first time meeting Mustafa. I've never met him. This is the first time meeting. Yeah.
Oh, no, because I know Mustafa. You had when did you flip from being an undercover?
2014.
Oh, Chuck, you wasn't in charge of that unit then, right? No,
I wasn't in charge by that time.
Oh, Lieutenant Richards.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Now your ass is scared. Now listen.
That's right. Oh, that's right, Mustafa. Oh my God. I just realized that when you said the hair, now he finally snapped. Now I remember. Yes, I remember Mustafa.
Yeah, he was hounding me down for those buys.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
Yeah, and he still want them right now. Where the fuck are they? Now listen.
149 in Willis.
That's a narcotics joke, everybody. Y'all wouldn't get it. Only
that's
only the police department would get that. So Chuck, close us out, brother.
Look, man, like I said, man, with everything else that's going on, that's so horrific, and there's so many things that are going on in the world that we have to be concerned with that's negative. Please try to find some positivity, no matter what. There's something good someplace, somewhere. Seek that out, as opposed to being riddled and getting consumed with everything that's going on. That's could be very depressing, right? It's a lot of degrading things, a lot of things that are very negative that are happening, whether it be in the media and just surrounding us. Like I tell everyone, it's easy to find an asshole. That's the easy part in the world, right? To find an asshole. But to find someone who's genuine, or to find someone who's in a good space, that's a rarity. So try to find that space. Don't be the asshole. You know what I mean? Just try not to. And you know what? Go out and be good to yourself. Whatever that might mean for some people, take some time, be good to yourself. The world, despite it right now, things have been rather bitter. There is certain places with everyone, and any place where you can go that you can find some happiness, whether it be with family, whether it be with friends, with a cocktail, I don't care, whatever, watching a movie, take some time out and find some happiness,
Yeah. Amen. And I'll close out and say, Chuck is right. If try to find some happiness. And if you don't know how to be happy, call me. I'll show you how to be happy. First and foremost, I'm gonna let you spend some money on me, and I'm gonna show you what it's like to be like, thank you. And then you're gonna say, oh, that's what part of his happiness is. You're spending your money. First and foremost, everybody. In closing, and this is it. This is the period. Treat people like you want to be treated. That's it. Period. If you treat people like you want to be treated, the world will be in a better place. Because if you're a piece of then you're going to treat people like that, and then you're going to expose yourself. If you're a kind, gentle person, and you have some kind of compassion, even if you follow the 10 Commandments, right? The world will be a better place if you just follow those 10 commandments. Whatever your commandments is, whoever your higher power is. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. On half of Mustafa, half of Chuck Richards. I am Bill Foster. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you Monday, I guess, right? Yeah, God willing. Talk to you later. Hold on, we're going in the green room. Hold on. Yeah.
All right.